here. I'm back having just watched Doctor Who for this week, and like, I mean, literally I just finished watching it 5 minutes ago, so it is all fresh in my head, except I want to make sure that I pronounce Rings of Akhaten. Okay. Rings of Akhaten. Rings of Akhaten, that's what I want. So I'm reviewing the episode Rings of Akhaten. I thought that overall it was an amazing episode, and it was one of the best episodes I have seen of Doctor Who in a really long time, and I'm very excited about that because it's been far too long, and I even stopped writing notes within like the first 10 minutes because I was like, no, I just want to watch this. This is just good. And I didn't like check the time and be like, oh really, is this still happening? So I thought it was really well written. There were some similarities between some of the settings and the dress scenes with like the Fires at Pompeii episode with Donna and the Doctor. Like the streets are very similar, and the costume on the little girl Mary was very similar to the Sears that like Amy, well, that we saw in Pompeii, that was played by Karen Gillan and others. But that's okay because it's the BBC and they recycle sets, so we're allowed to forgive them for that. I thought that the gravestone scene was very Sherlock again, so Doctor Who, your Stephen Moffat is showing with that, because yeah, he's behind the tree staring at someone crying over a gravestone. I swear like they were even the same gravestone material, like Sherlock Holmes was on the same thing. Just pan over a little bit further, you probably would have seen John standing there. Why am I grinning when I'm saying this? John standing there. Like maybe Sherlock and the Doctor are hiding behind the same tree like that, and then they could like bump into each other. That would be great. Girl can dream, can't she? Oh well. I'm getting sidetracked. So what really happened in the episode was there was no Sherlock, just subtle Sherlock references with the filming, which probably was not even intentional. I loved the book quote from Clara about how when someone asks you what your favourite movie or book is, and you go blank and you can't remember reading a book, and you're like, Spot the dog. Yeah, so definitely does happen. That's the thing. I'm really warming to Clara now. Like I already kind of liked her. This episode raised her up a level of definite like. She's in with the chance. Yay! I thought the banter between her and the Doctor, particularly when the Doctor was going through his plans and his reasoning and his lack of plans and his lack of reasoning, there was a really good rapport between the two of them, which kind of reminded me of Donna and Doctor, and I love Donna and the Doctor. They were like one of my favourite sets of companions, so I was like, hooray, we're back! So she's stepped away from the Amy, and there's not so much flirtatious undertones yet. Hopefully that'll stay that way. I liked that Clara gave barking a go at the alien. I thought it was good. She went along with it. She wasn't like hesitant. She was like, yes, we're travelling. This is what we do. This is so exciting. She was great fun. She reminded me of, and I thought it was interesting that her mum was called Ellie, because I got connections between the book and Ellie, I think her name's Ellie, from Up, the Disney movie, Disney Pixar movie? Ooh, I don't know. One of the two, sorry. Yeah, Ellie from Up. I got strong vibes from that because of the travelling and writing in the book and the leaf, and I don't know, it was very cute, but it wasn't a bad thing, it was a good reference. It would be nice though if the companions had a little bit of a simple backstory. I wouldn't mind a companion who just had a dull 9-to-5 job and wanted a bit of an adventure, as opposed to some complex, impossible woman from time with, a dead parent. But, hey, I'm sure they exist, so let's just go with that. There's definitely people who can relate to that, sure. I also loved when, so basically this is going to be a list of things that I liked. I loved the sacrifice speech that the Doctor told to Mary about how if she's going to be sacrificed, it's important that she understands what that represents. And I loved that he said that it may eat your soul, but that doesn't make it a god, it makes it a vampire. I think that 11's had 2 episodes now that really play on religion and faith. And it's not the first time that the Doctor in general has come up against a godlike creature. But The Beast Below, I think that was the name of the episode, with 10, was like one of my least favourite episodes, whereas the 2 with 11 that have dealt with gods have been really interesting. So it was a concept that they've worked with before, but I think that Matt Smith really, in the writing in this one, really took it to a whole new level where it wasn't so like Bible bashing, but actually just more to do with how one thinks and believes and feels and how that affects their soul rather than how it affects a whole society. But it did still reflect on the society, so it was interesting in a philosophical sense and also interesting in a Whovian sense. It worked on two planes, which is always cool. I also love that in the middle of that speech he slipped into Lewis Carroll's the time has come, the war said to speak of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, because I frequently just quote that randomly, so that was a good laugh. And I also liked the fact that kind of threw back to Harriet the Spy, but I might be the only one who remembers that Guppy quote, Guppy. Doctor, when I first seemed to imply in the episode that the god was going to be soothed by the choir of little girls singing and all of the planets singing, I was like, oh my goodness, that's going to be a really trite way to end the episode. And then, out of nowhere, bam, right in the emotions, just the Doctor comes out with that gut-wrenching speech, and Matt's face like melted into this mask of anguish, and that tear that rolled down his face, and oh my goodness, the man deserves an Oscar and all the awards, just give them to him, because that was intense and that was some amazing writing. I thought that was really just unbelievable. And how I was talking about, you know, it would take all his grief and his pain that he'd felt, and you could see at the end when he's just in silhouette and crumpling, that on some level he really did want that parasite to take all of that emotional burden from him. He wanted someone else to carry that weight, and I think that's still kind of really poignant and powerful every now and then, that you forget with the whimsy of 11 that he is that 900-year-old Time Lord with some serious pain and past issues that he just has never really quite gotten over. He carries the weight of many worlds on his shoulder, and I think that episode really highlighted what Doctor Who is all about. You know, this man who's running away from his problems but just keeps running into them wherever he turns, and even though he puts on a brave face and he battles on, and that takes a lot of courage and a lot of energy. And so it was really beautiful that Clara stepped up and offered some of her pain and anguish, that they could share that. And the idea that what could have been is so much more powerful because it's just infinite possibilities was quite an amazing concept as well. So overall, it was just a brilliant episode and it reminded me of why I loved Doctor Who, and that's why I'm glad I've stuck this season out.